Hey Decoders, this week we're continuing our conversation about the particulars of making choices from your head versus your being. We have so much to say about this. It's so fundamental. It's so important. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Kiran Trace. Welcome to Humans Decoded, a story of hobbits, fairies, elves, dwarfs, gnomes, and humans. If you get lost at any point, there is a deep dive on all the different avatars in episode 1. It includes notes. Thank you for joining us in a fun little chat about the vast potential of our human makeup. Hi Cam, hi Leela.
Hi guys.
Hi again. Can't get enough of you all.
I have such a great story about not like making a choice for my body versus my head in the last week because I had this problem at the dentist. And I know that Cam has a good story and that we lined up from last week. I know that Leela's got a good story. So I'm really happy to just like really expand into 2 episodes to give this conversation some depth.
Me too. I can't wait to hear your examples, to hear your stories. It's always so inspiring to hear each other. You know, it feeds back to my willingness.
Yeah, exactly. It lands me. Cam, you were just going to tell us where we were last week about you getting tangled. I loved how you're like, it's so easy to get tangled and have a face plant. Like it's one way to hear this in theory and kind of to like point at the manifestation fools who aren't really in their body. They're in their head and they say they're in their heart. They say they're in their gut. They say they're in their intuition, but it's really just a form of, you know, a flip side of your baggage. It's the happy, you know, put a happy smile on it instead of a frown. And so, because the actual practice of standing in the moment, standing in your body, and Leela said this in our last episode, it's very confronting. You're right there with all your baggage. Mm-hmm. And it isn't about some beautiful vacation you're going to get that you manifested or some dream body and you look your summer body, whatever that is. Or it isn't about like pumping yourself up, you know, like, and that can be like, you know, have a little dance, get your energy going, and then you'll be ready to face that task. Or it can be very spiritual, like, you know, okay, let myself, you know, I'm really practicing, so I'm making better decisions. And so I just have to say yes. I just have to say yes to whatever is coming at me. You know, like there's all these systematic ways our baggage is subtly, you know, corrupting the moment. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It's why we have the podcast every week. It's why we have these tools. And it's why we have community. And even still, we face plant. So,
oh, yeah.
You know, so episode wherever, you know, like episode 110 is all about all the ways we struggle, our most embarrassing stories presented to you once again.
You're welcome. Yeah, those belief systems are so sneaky, and they can come at you like a shepherd hook, just like, and take like your feet under you. And they can be swift and subtle or loud and explosive. But the example I have is trying to book my flight home. So I realized I wanted to extend my vacation, and I found a date that felt good to rebook my flight. So it was like a week later, but I found the date. It's like, yeah, this was the one that feels good. And then when it came to booking the flight, I completely face planted. Like fear came up from under me and I got caught in all this urgency like all this rara, like this kind of really aggressive mental noise being like, you have to go back, you have things to do, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, of course I'll listen to that voice. And so I ended up booking my ticket for like a few days earlier than I actually wanted, which wasn't the yes at all. And it was a very icky feeling. It's not like I listened to fear and then it was like, oh, thank God. It was like, oh shit, now there's just like this mess. And the belief system that was under it was worthless, convinced that I would only be worthy if I went back home on this date. I can't say any longer.
It's so true. It's so subtle. It's so subtle, and we're so hooked by it.
Yeah, totally. It's like, you'll let everybody down, and I'm like, yes, worthless. You're so right. And so, yeah, after a few days of sort of realizing, okay, this is very much fear. I know the telltale signs, and this is definitely coming from fear. I was able to like sort of land again in the date that was true, which was a few days later. So yeah, it's like, okay, I know what the actual date is. I have this flight on a day I don't want, but I'm available to book the new one. So I was like, right, let's just rebook it and get a new ticket. But then worthlessness comes back in, and it's like, you don't have any money. There are no tickets. Your flight isn't cancelable. There's a penalty, and da 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 da. And so like I'd go to my computer to try and book, and there'd just be like this clunk because it was leading with fear. It's almost like butting my head against the concrete wall. Like that's what it felt like. Like, oh, there's just so much fear. And so Kiran kindly reminded me that maybe I could spend as much time inside of the delicious for the new date as I had inside of all this triggery, I can't, I'm worthless. I fucked up and there's no flights and no money and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, then it was like, okay, back to practice, like back to my body, feeling it in my bones. What's it like to stay here a bit longer? Like just lingering in that vacation feeling that feels true, like it feels true in my body. And then yeah, the urgency starts falling away, the fear would kind of start falling away, and then it's like, okay, the clouds are parting, it feels like there's a way forward. And yeah, the feeling inside the body is very visceral. It's like an exhale where everything unclenches, and it's a feeling of like just having arrived home, like you can finally take off your coat and put it down and relax, like and yeah, I would feel that feeling in my body, and then just as quickly fear would be like, but remember, you're worthless. So it took a bit of back and forth and like, you know, staying with the practice. And Kiran has this beautiful truth statement, which I borrowed, which says, there is a miraculous way through. And so I just kept holding that and, you know, being with the feeling in my body. And then finally, when I sat down to book the ticket again, it turns out I could change it. It turns out I could afford it. It turns out instead of $330 for a ticket home, I ended up finding one for $130 to get home, and on the date that I wanted. So yes, delicious for the win.
You know, I can't stress how important this little piece is. Like, I have spoken and talked to so many awakened leaders who do not have this piece of the puzzle. And if they would, it would change things radically for them. And for those of us that may not be awake, well, you know, like, you don't have to be an awakened leader for this puzzle, this piece of the puzzle to actually transform your world. And it's so subtle, and we can walk past it all the time. So part of me is like, I'm so glad that we can really so directly share with you how easy it is to think you're making a choice from your being, from your heart, your gut, your intuition, but you're really just making a choice from same old head. and not being able to harness the fulfillment, the beauty, the miracle, the aliveness of what is available for you in the moment. And there's a million ways we walk past it. We talk about it all the time. I'm a parent. I have to go pick up my kids. I have to go to a million reasons why your mind will convince you I'm worthless. I have to be responsible. I can do that, like, and we can get so caught and so tangled there. And so just this like recognition, like, this is a practice. This is something we three practice constantly, all day, every day. And so I had this experience come up where my tooth cracked this week and a chunk came out. And I have a not safe, like low grade kind of keening with this sort of wailing away, like, my bones and teeth are crumbling. Not true. Wasn't at all captivated by it. Completely able to step over that. I recently moved to this town and I didn't have a dentist yet. My old dentist was just a master. He was so gorgeous. So I hadn't gotten around to replacing this master dentist. And so suddenly I'm here needing a dentist. I book an appointment with one. I go to it. It's ridiculous. It's like you pay a whole bunch of money for an exam and an x-ray, and there's literally nothing they can do. They have to send me out to a specialist who's going to go do something else. Okay, so go to a whole nother clinic, pay a whole bunch of money for an exam and an x-ray, and there's nothing. He can only do this tiny piece of it, but he's got to send me to another specialist. And it's just like, what is going on here? And it was this sort of like, if there's not a lot of clarity happening for me, I'm a little bit like a robot that starts to shut down. like like your vacuum Roomba that just starts spinning in circles. And so I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And we had to leave. And I was so entangled. Like, I was so entangled of like, I was leaving the second specialist being like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do next. Like, I'm like $700 out of pocket and I'm literally nowhere. And so Cami was with me. It was brilliant because Cami's, as you guys all know, she's so good at sort of crystallizing what's happening. And she's like, it's like if you had to get hand surgery, but only one doctor did the cutting. And you had to go to an entirely different hospital in a different city to have someone else stitch it up. But they don't cast it. And you got to go to an entirely different, so there's this other doctor who casts it. And the whole thing is just like crazy, And so I'm like a shut off, spinning, banging robot, like ding, 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 and Cam's sort of crystallizing for me. And so we sat there in this sort of chaotic stew for about, not long, like maybe 10 minutes or something. Because I was just like, I am shut down. I do not know where one goes for clarity. I am lost. I am lost. I am lost. I am lost. And then it was like, oh, my body. Come into my body. Oh, the moment is here. Oh, wait a second. I think like it starts to reboot. Like, wait a second. Delicious. What is delicious in my body right now? And it was like, I was like, well, and then it was and then I was reactivated. It was like, oh, well, clearly I would like one practice, one x-ray, one set of exams. I love that they're specializing, but can they specialize in one practice so I can get, the whole process done in an afternoon, for goodness sakes. So that became like, oh, that's what I wish this moment would be amazing. Like this is like in my body right here in this moment. If it was like this beautiful dentist who's super high tech and so masterful, and it was in one practice. And that was delicious, and that was enough to like reboot the system. And then it was like, oh, good. Do you want to, let's go have lunch. Do you want to go to Target? Should we go to the beach? Like life is back on, like aliveness reboots. And then I will say that similar to what Cam was saying, there was these little pops throughout the afternoon, tiny for me though, luckily, of just like, is it possible? Am I just like, is this what new dentistry is now? Like, are we just hyper specializing? Like, I don't do the little pops, but not captivating. When it was definitely coming from not safe, that screaming, howly one when the tooth cracked, right? So luckily not captivated. Later that same night when I had a moment so crystal clear of what was delicious in the moment, yes, there are beautiful dental practices with very high reviews and all kinds of high tech, because as an elf, I need my teeth cleaned by sonic pulse waves, not by human scraping. And yes, yes, and everything I would need is in one. And the end story is I ended up booking a dentist with the most beautiful, gentle, lovely dentist who for free would do exams and x-rays and is incredibly compassionate and can do all the procedures, in the same practice in one afternoon. So, yeah, there it is. There it is.
Delicious for the win, baby. Always. And I love what you're saying about how remembering that delicious is an option. Remembering that delicious is the heart of the whole thing. It's not this tiny little piece. It's the heart of it all. Is this sensation of like a complete reset. Like everything resets and everything is like, oh yeah, I'm back. Where were we? That's so cool.
Let's have fried chicken for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels like, yes, we are really well versed in this, yet every time it's sort of a new discovery. Every time it's a new, just like, oh yeah, right, there was something delicious, yeah. Not that we completely forget, but depending on the circumstances, depending on like what's hitting you from your baggage, it's definitely a new discovery. And I have this small example, relatively small example, like Cami drew me this beautiful tattoo and I would really love to get it on my skin while I'm still in California, because last summer Cam and I went to this artist and it was fabulous. I loved it. So there's this story of I want to go back this trip and have it done on my skin. And this morning I was convinced it's going to be today. So after this recording, I'm going to head out. I'm going to go to this tattoo artist and I'm going to get this beautiful design on my skin. And as I sit here and listen to us, I'm like, fuck no, that's not what my body wants. That's completely delicious from my head because, I can have a memory. I bring it home. It's special. It's la 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 la. You know that one. But in truth, I'm like, I'm tired. I surfed all morning. I'm done. I so want to curl up in bed and read a book, eat ice cream. Yes. And it's
90% of people listening to the podcast in this moment, raise your hand if you want to curl up in bed with a book and eat ice cream.
And,
yeah.
And it is a teeny tiny example. Like there's no high stakes here with this tattoo. At the same time, it's one of these things that would be it's so easily walked past, right? Because it's so easy to just drive into town, as opposed to leaving it in the unknown, like leaving it not knowing when, if this is going to arise, this tattoo.
But as Cam just said, when it arrives, the feeling. It feels like you just arrived home.
Yeah.
You can take your coat off. You can relax. When you really nailed what is true for your body under your ass in this moment, this one moment, these beautiful sensations will lead the way. And they can feel very, very ordinary, but they will begin to equal miracles. Honestly, I think within 10 hours, talking to the most beautiful dentist who can do everything in one chair, that's kind of a miracle. It feels almost ordinary, but from the way it was originally being orchestrated to what is truly my most delicious inside of 10 hours, that's a miracle. And I notice when I talk to people who make all their choices from their mental stories, especially stories of fear or injustice, wow, it's a lot of effort and it's heavy. And there's all these extra moves. So the glitchy, the extra move, this like urgency, the potential of a catastrophe, or that kind of like the new and improved me, who's going to get something, versus the contrast of that ease, that I just came home and I just took my coat off. That uplift of life, just taking care of these details. And it becomes obvious when we talk about it like this, when we sensitize it like this. It's me taking care of business versus life taking care of business. And that's a world of difference. One is sustainable, and one takes a lot of heaving coal into the engine to keep it going, so to speak.
Yeah, one thing in both of your examples you were sharing is something I see over and over and over again when I do actually follow my true delicious, is that what seems like this is how things are, this is how it is, this is how, I don't know, the world functions, which seems so true. Like there are no flights, it costs money to rebook, or this is how dentistry is done in this country. Like in true, actual, delicious, none of these things are actual things. Like all these circumstances are completely irrelevant. Like, I don't know. Again, small examples. When there's people say there's a traffic jam, or these are the dates I have to be with my family or whatever, it's like, no, not necessarily. If it's my true delicious to go to a beach town 4th of July, there's going to be parking. Like the busiest weekend ever, and everybody says there's no parking, it's impossible. But everything's possible if you sort of stand in this actual true, your being's delicious. It's like, oh, exhale, I'm home, I'm unbuttoning my jeans after having had my dinner or something like that, So none of these external things have any meaning to them. And it's, I mean, that's truly miraculous. That's that's fucking incredible, I have to say.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been able to see the architecture of that a little bit more clearly recently. The sort of architecture of these miracles being built inside of reality. And it's kind of like there's nothing. There's only one thing, which is infinite potential. And that's all there is and always has been. And so, of course, you can get a parking spot or the flight you want because there's no limitation. It's literally like all potential, like nothing coming into form. And so it's so hardwired into us to think that A plus B surely equals C. And surely I also need the mind to navigate this. Like that's the only way to do this formula. So it's such a mind flip to see that it's actually all here at once and it's being created as we speak.
And I'd say just risking one small choice from this place of your being's true delicious, and then discovering that, I'd say just risking one small choice from the place of your being's delicious is so worth it, just to sort of see it's true what we're saying. It's not just you get to discover it for yourself. And then to me at some point it felt like, whoa, this moment, this life, this sort of thing that is happening here, this dream, this is the land where milk and honey flows. This is really paradise. Like everything's possible, not from what I want, what my baggage is telling me I should go after, but from actual truth, from the depth of my being.
Preach. And I think this is going to sound offensive at first, but bear with me. In a way, it's like, thank God for all the things that didn't work out for you and you didn't get the things you wanted. Because that wasn't coming from the authenticity of your being. And life is only going to give you these enormous fulfillments for your being in this moment. Not in the next one, not even in the next breath. It's like, it's this one. And just as Cami was so beautifully illustrating, those externals are much more elastic than we think they are. And we are so hardwired to think that. But when you breathe in this moment and come actually into the truth of your body and your being, man, it's so good that window closed or that door closed, and what you thought a dream life was, closes. And, the elasticity is there. It's in the depth of reality. And it will stretch wildly towards what is truly fulfilling to your being. And it will spring shut so contracted so quickly when you have these agendas on your being.
We were chatting, Kiran, and I was kind of seeing in a really direct way that delicious is what's true. So nothing exists, and delicious is what's actually emerging from the moment. And yeah, it felt like one of the first times it sort of rung so true in my body, like, this is the truth. And I know that sounds like super culty. But it's almost like watching it from reality. And yeah, when you're seeing nothing create itself from everything, you can kind of see what starts coming into form. So it's a subtle outline of what's coming, and it's what your being is resonating with in that moment as delicious. That's what's being formed. That's what's true. That's what reality is creating right now. So yeah, that's the invitation, guys. You can have that, because that's like where reality's sort of building things from and pointing you to miracles. But you're also very welcome to have your pain body story. And yeah, all the conditioning based on contraction and limitation. So it's not a small ask, but it's like, it's so powerful to be able to harness this. And yeah, to be able to break it down, feel the edges of it with your fingers, and then apply it to your life is life-changing.
Yep. And that life-changing option of delicious yes, that's yours to take. You're invited to take that 9-day challenge on our website. We'll link to it in the show notes. And it's worth every moment of, being terrorized with, I cannot do this. It's not possible. Not this time. All the other times, yes. But that one here now, I'm sure, nope. But it's so worth it to keep going, keep paddling.
Yeah, and ultimately, this is your practice. This is the work. Sign up for the 9-day challenge and take it. If you've already taken it, take it again. Be very, very, very interested in all the ways that you didn't actualize the invitation for the day in the course. If you find yourself distracted on day 2, well, that's fascinating information for you. If you find yourself making a delicious choice and then freaking out in terror and running in the opposite direction, isn't that interesting? And, the really most beautiful piece of the 9-day practice is all the ways that you won't actually do it. And just that's so juicy. Like, that's wonderful to expose and see it. Take a note and bring that into class. Embodiment is the fall registration is open. You can take sessions with Leela or myself. Make sure you're on the newsletter list and you'll get all the announcements. Check it out on the website. And we'll be here with you next week for more juicy, juicy topics.
Yay. I love this one. I'm going to re-listen 700 million times. Thank you for creating this episode for me. And all of you decoders.
Just another miracle.
Bye. Thank you for listening. We obviously love hearing what you think. Your feedback helps us make a better show for you to listen to. So feel free to comment, and you can do it at Facebook, which is the Humans Decoded podcast. And if you're not on social, you can always email any questions to us at outreach@kirantrace.com. And thanks for listening. We love you.